It seems Roblox is finally doing that hatch event. You know, I could make a video talking about the games or the controversy of the event, maybe something related to the topic. Nah, I'm just gonna rate some horror games.
He wants to sell some insurance.
Leave me alone!
This is the spot, Dante. This is the spot.
This is Spec. Spec loves the woman whispering in his ear.
What the hell is that?
The game is great on all fronts, but if I'm gonna rate it just off of horror, I'd say it's only a 6 out of 10. The ambience and sounds carry it for the most part, but I think Pressure fits more for a thriller with a lot of tension than a horror with a lot of scares. Not to say it doesn't incorporate both, it just leans more to one side than the other. If anything, the scariest thing related to Pressure would be the discussion surrounding the characters. Speaking of characters,
Wait, I didn't mean it!
when playing alone, it might be a bit scarier, especially for new players.
You have to go to a locker.
Though considering most people play with at least one other person, the potential scares turn into
This Will can shut the hell up.
Sam got molested by a cave dweller.
Hey. Now, where were we?
Creeping behind Aiden, and
Step
I'm
on
like,
it. Step on that bear trap.
Aiden?
This one, I think I can give a solid 8 out of 10. The Rake is easily one of the best made horror games I've ever seen on Roblox.
Look what better man.
He's in the bear trap! He got trolled!
But the issue is, it doesn't remain that way for long. The nights can feel a little dragged out, and the map itself isn't really that big, so you're probably going to be running into the same things over and over again, which can get a little boring. There's just not a lot of objectives to do aside from killing the Rake itself. One good thing though, is that while in most horror games, once you have a weapon, the horror is gone. But in the Rake, even with a whole group of people fighting against it, it still finds a way to be scary, because the Rake is just that cracked. But even if you're beating the brakes off the Rake, there is a chance for a blood out to occur once it's low HP. And from there, you really just have to hope for the best, because you're not surviving it. Overall, great atmosphere, great ambience, and a great monster. It's just the Achilles heel is the lack of overall things to do.
Yeah, robbed.
Don't worry, Springtrap. We will survive with the mighty power of doors.
Yeah. If I were to rate the overall horror of all the FNAFs, it'd be a 5 out of 10. The only real scary one would be FNAF 1, with FNAF 2 and 3 being more of a constant cat and mouse chase, and FNAF 4 being the odd one out. FNAF 1 is a little cheap as it's mostly jump scare like moments, but it does that very well. One thing that I do like is that unlike other games where more people makes it less scary, this game has the opposite effect because of how the AI works. Meaning, one person can get the animatronic angry, but if somebody is closer, it'll just speed blitz right towards them.
Is he going around?
Overall, the game isn't anything spectacular. It just has the same sound effects and ambience from FNAF, nothing super special, and is mostly carried by the chaos that comes with higher nights and their difficulty.
See, it's over, bro. It's over.
What do you mean? It really is over!
It's over!
It's over!
Keeping on the topic of FNAF, we have Foxy from FNAF Doom. This one is still in its early stages, but the game itself is pretty fun so far, so I'm hoping to see what they do with it in the future. It's pretty much FNAF Doom, except upscaled by a lot, which isn't a bad thing. You can outrun and juke the animatronics quite easily, but that's to be expected. For now, I'll leave the game with a non-disclosed rating, and I'll just come back to it once a bit more is added to give it a definitive one. Staying on the topic of games that are still new or in alpha, we have Suitborn. Now this game I can easily say has a lot of potential. The monster, mechanics, and atmosphere have a nice flow to one another, if being a bit on the cliche side. The way the anxiety feature and power system works goes hand in hand. You need to stay on the cameras for your anxiety, but also have to leave the comfort of that safe area to check on the power alongside doing the objectives. A simple but effective strategy. For now, I'll give the game a simple 6 out of 10. There's not a lot to really rate it off so far, but again, I'm waiting to see what this game adds in the future, cause it definitely is gonna be good. Westwood is a solid horror game. However, unlike other games, the monster itself just isn't that scary.
Life through him. Now you see, this bird's
Hey, John, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think something's
Yeah.
outside.
I don't think this guy's a big fan of God. My EMF things are 5.
Hey,
Oh wait, hold on. I'll talk to him.
Yeah?
Maybe he was late to the sermon. I don't think he likes the sermon. I don't think he.
The mechanics, atmosphere, and content in the game does help give you more ways to encounter it, but this guy is just more silly looking than scary to me. It's similar to the Rake, except having much more to do and with a much bigger map. I do think the biggest thing helping this horror score is the additional little gimmicks the game has. Especially the fact that the Wendigo can actually yoink you out of the window of the house you're in. Which is probably one of the coolest things I've seen a Roblox horror game actually do. The addition of Hunger and Thirst is also pretty good. There's just a lot of small things sprinkled into this game that help make it a little bit more interesting. Residence Massacre. I'd say Night 1 is far better for horror than Night 2, while both are really good. The entire game is really good. While the pattern of the creature isn't that difficult to learn, nor is the creature really that scary, but the game makes up for that fact in a lot of different ways. For one, being chased in this game is always somewhat of a toss-up. There's items that can help you run away for longer, and you might just be able to last long enough for the enemy to despawn. But that's a rare case. In Night 2 though, you can buy a UV light, which stuns the monster to give you more time to run away. Speaking of Night 2, while I do see it as less scary than Night 1, it's still really well done. The constant objectives and things to keep track of can easily overwhelm a group, adding a lot of tension to the whole thing. Even with the ability to somewhat fight back, the mix between difficulty and horror is definitely there. A bonus is just how much the game has to offer. From PvP to nightmare mode to achievement hunting, the game has a lot of content and things you can do solo or with your friends. Overall, I'd say it's a solid 7.5 out of 10. Small game. While super well made, with a nice cast of characters and a rich atmosphere, partially falls flat to me. So I'd have to give it a 5.5 out of 10. The game is more or less a giant fetch quest, and while the map itself is really well made, the AI of the monster and its passing can make some segments extremely tedious. Being quiet is also crucial as not to anger the monster,
Precious time.
so
Coming up
things
here.
tend to move a bit
Oh,
slower.
there you are. Come on in. Wait, is she okay?
You can risk going faster, but making noise will draw the monster's attention rather easily, and you can't exactly outrun them either. Alternatively, you can just have one person constantly take the monster's attention, while the other does all the quests. The game is far from done though, so maybe some upcoming content that's planned for it can help out in terms of horror. So what do you guys think? How awful are my ratings? Should I never be allowed to rate Roblox horror games ever again? How would you rate these games just off of their horror? Comment down below, and as always, God bless and have a nice day. Or night, I don't know your time zone.
Alright,
close.
panic.
Where's Silent Suzuka?
Who is this
What?
bomb?
What?
That's the
You know, I could also bring up games like Forsaken and Pillar Chase, but I think the Survivor update for Pillar Chase really took away a lot of the horror. And Forsaken is just it's not scary. It has some horror stuff, sure, but I feel like it's more for aesthetic reasons than to actually be scary. Also, I'm sorry about my mic. It's really terrible. I'll get a new one, I promise.